Now, I'm not one to gossip, but I will bring you the tea. Welcome to Chronicle Speaks. So I am here with the international food prophet, Dr. Jollie Harris, who is actually my healer. I've been dealing with him for a few years. I've had heavy menstrual cycles, all types of things, and I only take natural medicine. And this is who I go to and have been going to, I want to say, maybe 3 years, 2 or 3 years. And he's been helping me and my family out tremendously. So I want to welcome you here today. Hello, Dr. Jollie.
Hello, how you doing? This is the day the Lord has made, and I want to say hallelujah to you and your family, to all the progress in terms of your health.
Thank you so much. Our conversation has actually been into the works for a while. I met you through Leola Brown, which is actually Bobbi Brown's sister, and she told me a story that just truly broke my heart. And that's when I came to know exactly who you were, because you were the doctor or the healer for Bobbi Kristina. And there's a lot of things that we don't know that happened throughout the process when she was in the coma, her actually waking up. So can you just tell me how you came about with the situation, how you were introduced to Bobbi Kristina?
Yes, I met some people. I'll make a long story short, but I was praying, walking at night at 3 a.m., praying to God to go help Bobbi Kristina. I didn't know anyone that knew her. I didn't know Bobbi Brown. I didn't know zilch, nothing. So I was just praying, walking to the east, maybe for about, I would say, 60 to 90 days praying. And then all of a sudden I got a call from a person, a lady came by my house, and her sister had a situation where she was ill. And it was a situation that, you know, she could leave here, meaning it was a grave illness. And she brought her to me and I helped her. And these people happened to be a niece, goddaughter of Bobbi Brown. And they introduced me to Bobbi Brown, and I spoke to him on the phone. And he spoke to a couple of people just to check and make sure I was who I say I am. And he called me back a few days later. He says, "You are who you say you are." And he says, "I'm giving you the permission to go see my daughter." It was pretty much that simple. And the people that introduced me to him, they flew me to Atlanta.
Okay.
And that's how I came about getting there.
Good. So when you got there, can you tell me like how the scene was? Because you flew and you went to the hospice facility, correct?
Yes. So I flew there. To make this story short, wrap it up a little bit in the beginning. There was a family that allowed me into their home. Okay, this brother named Mario and his mom, Queenetta, they allowed me into their home, and they lived in the same area where Whitney Houston lived, called Country Club of the South in Atlanta. I mean, I never heard of this area. It's an area that has all these exclusive homes starting at $2 million and up. But this family, they allowed me to come in there, and their son Mario, he drove me to the convalescent home. And when we got to the convalescent home, the security people there was a guy who's like head of security. He says, "Oh, Doc," he said, "Dr. Harris," he said, "we can take you inside." He said, "But hold on a minute, I can't take you in right away." I said, What's the problem? What's the problem?" He says, "Oh man," he said, "we got photographers up in the trees." I said, "What?" He said, "Yes, we've got photographers in the trees." He said, "These guys been sleeping here days and ends and nights and months." He said, "They're sleeping in the trees with their cameras focused in, these high-powered lens focused into Bobbi Kristina's window." So he said, "Let me get a few of these guys out the trees first." When I got there were thousands of photographers all around this hospice care place called the Peachtree Hospice Care Center, Peachtree Christian Hospice Care Center. So I eventually went inside, and I met up with Bobbi Brown inside, and he wanted to take me inside the room to see his daughter. So he tried to take me inside, and Pat Houston and a few of their people came over, family members, and says, "Oh, no, he can't go inside this room." And they were putting up, how do you say, a big defense to keep me from going in. It's like I was the brown bomber or something coming into Bobbi Kristina's room. And so they were like, no. But then Bobbi Brown, he told the security guys, there were two guys there. He said, "Listen," he said, "this is my guest. This is my daughter." He says, "If I want to have," they kept saying, "Oh, he's not on the list. Dr. Jollie's not on the list." I said, no. The security said, "Hey, we're going to let him go in anyway, because Bobbi has the right to bring him his own guest. If he wants to bring in a personal guest, they said he can do so. So Pat and their family members were extremely upset that I was allowed in.
Right.
And when I
So,
went into the room, I did a little prayer. And in my prayer, pretty quick one, God asked me to vision Bobbi Kristina waking up. He really asked me to vision Princess Bobbi Kristina waking up. She's a princess because of the state she was put in, how she was put in, and what the hospital was doing to her. Before I walked into her room, I walked around the whole facility. And I just, did my own little gaze around this hospice care center. And I noticed that everybody had food there. Everybody had, everybody either had the IV bags or they had food trays, but they had something showing that they were being fed. When I walked into the room with Princess Bobbi Kristina, I noticed I walked around her bed. There was nothing connecting, no wires, nothing connecting anything to the walls, anything, no machines, no nothing, and no IVs. So I'm thinking, how is she being fed? Everybody else in this facility has some form of food. So God called on me to vision her waking up. So I did that. And I said, Bobby, I need to begin. He says, okay, what are you going to do? He says, because, they don't want you putting any herbs or anything into her body right now. I said, well, just watch. So I started doing pressure points. I did her right hand and I did pressure points on her left hand. I want to show people as I'm saying this, because I could say something, but I'm from St. Louis and we're the show me state. So I want to show people, because even you yourself, you may have to do this to your cousin, your sister, your uncle, someone in your family, your father, but you press, you see this web here? When I open my hand, you'll see a web between each finger. Exactly what I did was I take my hand and you squeeze that web. You see my hand doing it? I'm showing you as best I can.
Yeah.
Squeeze that web as hard as you can between each finger. Now watch this closely. When you squeeze here, liver, kidney, bladder, and your heart right here, okay? So you squeeze the skin as hard as you can on your member. If they look like they're suffering, they're dying, or not gonna make it. And when you squeeze the skin real hard, you jumpstart their blood. You send a signal to their brain that the operations and machines and Dopplers cannot do. You send a signal from God to wake up a different vessel. So you squeeze between each finger, okay? And you also squeeze between each toe. When I squeeze between her right hand and her left hand, Princess Bobbi Kristina did not respond. When I squeezed between her right foot, she did not respond. But with her left foot, she kicked. And when she kicked so hard, I jumped. And Bobby's like, hey, man, what's going on? Why you laughing? Why you laughing? I jumped so fast. He says, what's going on? I said, hey, man. I said, your daughter kicked so hard. I said, she kicked so hard, she could have knocked my 2 front teeth out. I said, I'm laughing because I should have just stayed right here in position and let her do that kick and knock out these 2 front teeth. Then I could tell the world and tell you that Princess Bobbi Kristina knocked 4 teeth right out of my mouth, waking up from a coma. Now that's a Black woman with some strength and a half. When she woke up, she kicked like a Missouri mule. I'm telling you, she could have kicked my head off. You would have thought Mike Tyson punched me in the face, okay? She kicked like that.
And we have
energy. When she woke up, she was like, and she was grunting and growling and looking at me. And Bobby said, why is she looking at you like this? I said, Bobby, she's looking at me like this because I did the equivalency of stumping on your toe as hard as I possibly could. I said, it's like me stumping down as hard as I possibly can. I said, that's why she's looking at me like, like that. I said, but then she realized that she's awake. And now that she's realized that she's seeing you, he says, what am I supposed to do? I said, come over here real quick, over here, come closer. So I took my finger and I make a circle in the back of her head like this. And it's right at the base of your neck, at the top of your neck, the base of your head. Okay, there's a little spot right in the bottom there. in that indenture. And then you go in the circle to the right. I said, Bobby, keep doing this. He said, what am I doing? I said, I call it beam me up, Scotty. It's a way of bringing life back into a person. And as Bobby was doing this, Princess Bobbi Kristina started saying, Daddy, 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 Daddy. And she was screaming to his face. And Bobby was maybe 2-3 inches from her face while she was screaming, Daddy, Daddy. And so she didn't know how to enunciate or pronounce words. The only thing she could say was, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And she was screaming it and screaming it. And people outside the room heard her screaming. They knew Princess Bobbi Kristina was awake. Now, yeah. These doctors, they want you to know, these different people that did these other shows that have been talking to me, they have edited out the most important thing. And the most important thing is that Princess Bobbi Kristina, she actually woke up from the coma. I didn't wake her up. God woke her up in my hands. God used my hands as his utensils, as his tools, like your knife and your fork, okay? Mm-hmm. So God woke her up. And this is how this all happened. But as she woke up, she had the energy. And so Bobby knew that his daughter was alive, that she was awake.
I can say today, my baby's awake. She's watching me. So don't believe what you read. No life support, nothing. She's living on her own.
Within about maybe 7 minutes, Patty Houston walked in the room. She was blown away because Princess Bobbi Kristina was making sounds and she was moving. And the lady that brought me there, she said to Princess Bobbi Kristina, she said, if you see that the doctor is here, if you see Dr. Jollie's here, and you know that God sent him here to wake you up, she said, not one time. Princess Bobbi Kristina, she raised her head, not one time. She asked her the second time, she says, if you know he was pressing on your feet, because at this time she was laying back down on the pillow. And she said, if you know he was pressing on your feet, pressing pressure points to wake you up. She said, not 2 times. Princess Bobbi Kristina nodded 2 times. And then she said, if you know he came here to give his will and everything to save your life, if you know he's here and I brought him here for you, she said, nod again 3 times. Princess Bobbi Kristina nodded 3 times. When a person can answer your commands and hear your voice, they're no longer in a coma. This hospital said that she was in a coma, and as I was viewing her and doing pressure points, God told me this is not a coma, this is a sedated coma, but it's a coma that they would call a enunciation. Now I want the world, and especially our Black and brown people, to know what enunciation is. Enunciation is a term that was invented by Hitler's #1 doctor named Joseph Mengele. This guy used to take Jewish people and he would give them this syrup, a mixture between like morphine and heroin and a few other drugs, but he would make this serum and the Jewish people would walk around 70 pounds, 80 pounds. He was doing a test. This particular doctor, oh, by the way, this doctor was known for having human eyeballs all over his office room. They said there was not an inch where he did not have human eyeballs with nails sticking them into the walls. But he prevented this service, this serum that you put into the body with a needle that would prolong life. And this is what it was all about, prolonging life of the people, having them walking around 60, 70, 80 years old, whatever the age, but walking around, not knowing anything, just basically like a zombie, but your brain is still here and your organs are staying intact. So he give them this serum to basically take your life away from you, but keep your heart, your liver, your bladder, and your kidney intact. They do this, putting people and sedating them and putting them in comas so that they could take your organs later when you die. It's called enunciation. And a lot of these children you have been seeing on milk cartons when you and I were young. Every week we see 2 or 3 children on milk cartons. They would be snatching these kids up, and there are people that use them in ceremonies and rituals and stuff like this, and they use their internal body parts, which is the #1 game on earth. It's the #1 thing being sold, body parts and satellite parts that are moving around there. The machines go and capture them. But body parts, people are buying. I said, Bobby, watch out. They may be selling your daughter's heart to one guy from some country, Germany, maybe another guy from England, maybe another guy from Russia, another guy from Bangladesh. But they're selling body parts to the highest bidder. And people have been buying black body parts because, how do you say, it's the highest thing on the market? And people want the liver. They want a young black heart. They want a young black kidney. They want it. So I said, Bobby, be careful, because they will take your daughter's body parts and sell them to the highest bidder. And this is the game I believe they were playing on Princess Bobbi Kristina, anesthetizing her, keeping her body on hold with this serum, okay? This morphine stated deal. And when you're on morphine, you lose your consciousness of who your sister is, your brother is. You wouldn't know your mother, your father, if they stood in front of you. When they give a person morphine and anesthetize the brain, you lose your contact and touch with God. And some people, that's all they have left. Some people, they don't have the mother, they don't have the father, they don't have anybody to care for them. All they got is God. But when these devils in the hospital give you morphine, they disconnect your connection with God.
Right.
And that's your last and your final hope. And that's what they did with Princess Bobbi Kristina. They anesthetized her. And I want the world to know that they're doing this to many of our family members, not just Black people, white people, brown people, and they're sedating people and keeping them, how do you say, on hold, okay? But there are people that they keep on hold for 2 and 3 years, and they released her, you understand, to let her go.
Right. And
They
I just
made
want to,
let her go.
And I just want to emphasize that she was actually awake. A lot of people, I think she was in a coma from January to July when she passed, but a lot of people did not know that she was awake. And I remember Bobby actually doing a performance, and he was like, my daughter is up, she's alive, she's
Right.
breathing, she's communicating. And a lot of people thought that Bobby was going crazy. So when I first talked to Leola and she told me, I was like, no, she was in a coma. And then I talked to you told me the same story. So I just want to emphasize that she did actually wake up. Leola told me that she was afraid to go to sleep. She would watch TV,
Right.
hours and hours on end, because she did not want to go back to sleep. So I just want to really emphasize that Bobbi Kristina did wake up.
Well, not only did she wake up, she was awake for over 2 weeks.
Right.
So a young lady awake for over 2 weeks, okay, watching TV. And she's here studying in her own mind, how am I going to get my life back together? What am I going to do? How am I going to get back on my feet? And at the same time, within 1 hour of her waking up in my hands, within 1 hour, there was a final meeting, a decision on Princess Bobbi Kristina's life. And the world doesn't know. Well, the world does know that the Houston family was in a fight with the Brown family. People knew about that battle for a long time. That was going on pretty heavy, right?
Hold on 1 minute before we get into that. But because I did see in the Reels thing that you did, the Reels video.
Yes.
You talked to
REELZ-TV. Yes, Reels
right.
TV.
You spoke about Pat coming in the room. So we're going to get to everything else. Can you tell me what happened
with
Bobbi
go back? You're right. Let's go back to that, because that is a very important segment. After Princess Bobbi Kristina was awakened and the people outside the room heard her making those loud sounds and loud noises, Pat Houston walked in the room. And when Pat walked in the room, she walked over slowly toward Princess Bobbi Kristina. The closer she got to Princess Bobbi, they call her Krissy. Krissy's her name, family name, Krissy, okay? So I'll just say Krissy from this point on. The closer she got to Krissy, Krissy started growling out. She was growling like a pit bull. She growled so loud, so hard, that Krissy's nostrils on her nose got really, really wide. And when you see a Black person's nostrils go wide, they're ready to take you out.
Yeah.
Every Black person knows when a Black man's nostrils go up, you're going down.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Especially if a Black woman does it, you better
Mine all the time. Yeah.
I said run, okay?
Yeah.
So Pat Houston got closer and closer, and Princess Bobbi Kristina kept growling. Krissy kept growling and growling. And then Pat Houston eventually just started walking backwards. She started walking back steps. I noticed that she would not turn around and walk out the room. She kept looking at Krissy and walking back. She was afraid that Bobbi Kristina, Krissy would get up and jump on her head. She didn't know exactly how much strength was in her. But imagine a young Black woman waking up from a coma, a so-called coma. And when she wakes up, she has all of this enormous strength, and she has not moved in almost a year.
Yes. Yeah. 6 months.
Okay?
Yeah.
So this told me something that God, how do you say, put an enormous bite in her mouth to go after Pat Houston. Because a person waking up from a coma, you're frail. You have no energy, no strength. You can't do that.
Yeah.
You don't have it like that.
Yeah.
God gave it to Krissy, and she got it through my hands enough strength to where she could go and how do you say, go fight for her rights, okay? And that's what I looked at. The only thing I could see was she was going after a person that she felt put her in that state.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
had something to do with it, okay?
Right.
So that was a big, how do you say, awakening in the room, because everybody was noticing how mad she was getting at Pat Houston.
Yeah.
Just waking fresh up from a coma.
Right.
If somebody wakes up and want to kick your butt or my butt from a coma, I would say we did something wrong.
Yeah. And I would run backwards too. So going back to the meeting that was held, can you talk a little bit more? Because we, the people, were seeing that the Houstons were getting into it with the Browns, but we didn't know what was going on in the
Exactly
facility.
what was going on. Yeah, exactly what's going on was Bobby, after his daughter was awake and he noticed that she was alive and awake and kicking and, you know, her thoughts of Jollie and coming back, he asked me to go have a meeting with him. I said, what meeting? He said, there's a final decision on my daughter's life. I said, a what? He says, oh yeah, in about 20 minutes, there's a final decision going on my daughter's life. And he says, I want you to represent the Brown family against the Houston family. And when Bobby said that to me, I thought for a second, and I said, hey, I didn't come down here, brother. I didn't come down here to do any politics. I only came to do the will of God and let God use my heart and my hands and my body and soul to do what we can to get her back. And I said, she's back. She's back. He says, nobody could speak for the Brown family like you. Nobody has to care. Nobody has to worry like you. He says, I want you to represent the Brown family against the Houston family in this final decision on my daughter's life. And when Bobby said that to me, God, is almost like God just boom, slapped me and said, do it. And I said, yes, Bobby, I'll do it. But when I said it to Bobby, I want the world to know this. When I said to Bobby that I would do this, chills went through my body. Because here's a man putting his daughter's life in another man's hand. Bobby did not know me. He just saw the will of God working through my hands. But when a man tells you that he's gonna allow you to make the decision over his daughter's life, that, how do you say, that was a mind-blowing experience just for him to even say that.
Yeah.
So in my eyes, Bobby Brown is a king. Because it would take a man to be a king to make a decision like that. A man to have God in his heart with all the things he has going on in his life that are coming at him, and people don't know how things are coming at Bobbi. They don't have a clue. That's his personal life. I don't have to speak about that.
Yeah.
But this man has a million arrows coming at him, and he makes this decision, allows the doctor of the church, the international food prophet, to go in and fight the battles. So he said, walk with me. I said, where are we going? He said, first, I want you to do a little quick meeting with the women in my family. He says, because Krissy's back. I want them to be able to take care of her. So when you leave and get back on your plane, people know how to take care of Krissy. I said, so yes, we'll do that, okay? But we'll go back into that story a little bit, and I'll go directly into this meeting room, okay? So there was a couple of meetings going on, one with the family internally and one with all these doctors. Right now, we'll speak about the one with these doctors.
Okay.
Like I said, Bobbi, it's like he laid his hand right here, put his heart in his hand, and he stuck his heart right in my face. And his heart is his daughter. And he said, you deal with the situation. So when I walked into this room with Bobbi, there was a long, long table. On one side of the table, they had all these people with these white coats and white, robes on, pharmaceutical jackets, with their pharmaceutical logo. And there was a CEO, there was the president, there was a chief executive, there was a head nurse for this facility. Everybody had their own positions. And then on the side of the table where I was sitting, no white jackets. On the side where I was sitting was Bobbi Brown, me, Tommy Brown, and Uncle Ray. To the left of me sat Pat Houston and Mimi, who is Bobbi Brown's niece. Bobbi Brown's niece in this situation, weird situation, she happened to be on the Houston side, not helping the Brown side, which is her family's last name. She's helping the Houston side, somewhat of a, what you would call a traitor in this meeting. So a meeting went on here and everybody introduced themselves. The head CEO says, to start this meeting off, everybody's going to introduce themselves. So we tell everybody who they are, everybody is, so everybody knows everybody, okay? So they all introduced themselves, and then they had me introduce myself. When they asked me to introduce myself, I told them, I said, I know you all think that I came here for a child of Bobbi Brown. I said, I know you all think that I came here for a child of Whitney Houston. I said, I want you to know why I really came. I said, I came for a child of God. I came to claim her godly rights, her heavenly rights, her spiritual rights, her womanly rights, her moral rights. I said, I came to claim it all. And I said, I came in the name of our Lord and Savior. So I said, I'm not the person who you guys think I am. I said, I'm a redeemer. I work for God. And I explained it to them that what I do is God-driven, meaning it's not me. None of this is me. So we went through all of that, okay? And then they got into this conversation about, well, let's go directly to this matter of Bobbi Kristina. And they said that you woke her up. And the doctors agreed, yes, she's awake. You woke her up. Yes, she's sitting in that room right now watching TV. They all agreed to that. And so I asked the doctors, I said, I did pressure points on her. Why didn't you? And one of the doctors, the head surgeon said, he said that I did, but it didn't work. I said, you did? He says, oh, yes. I said, how hard did you try? And he just didn't say anything, okay? So I want you all to know everybody can do pressure points in their family and wake up a person that says they're dying. So they go into this circle talking about me and not allowing me to give her any herbs. Okay, Pat Houston said 100%, I'm not agreeing with him giving her any herbs. And so the chief CEO of the place, he said, you know, there's a possibility you may give her these herbs and they may cause her to aspirate and she'll be choking and we'll have to rush her to the hospital, call paramedics and stuff like this. And when the CEO said this, I said, yes, sir. I knew you would say something like that. So I had pulled out my phone and I had a guy in my hip pocket. His name is Brother Nasir, but his son fell into a pool and he was in a coma, a situation maybe 10 times worse than Bobbi Kristina. And this man was on the phone to talk to these doctors. And I had him on the phone and I pushed the button and he talked to these doctors and told them about his son being in a coma. He told the doctors at this facility where Bobbi Kristina is, he told them that at UCLA Hospital, 12 neurologists, 12 brain surgeons made the decision to let his son die, turn the machine off 12 hours after I left that facility, which was at 7 o'clock at night. They said they're going to turn it off the next morning. So this man was on the phone showing these doctors his son, how his son is doing. He says, yes, he's being tube fed. He says, this prophet doctor here, he give me all the herbs to feed my son. He says, so he's not going to hurt Bobbi Kristina because he says, I'm tube feeding my son right now today, all of his herbs. And they saw this young man. They saw this young man sitting down, studying his homework, the boy that fell into the pool, that had the coma. And so I said, oh, thank you, Brother Nasir, and we hung up the phone. So the surgeons got to see that what I do is real, that these herbs actually work. And after they saw that, they still said no. The CEO, I said to him, I said, sir, namaste. He said, namaste. I said, you speak Hindu? And I said, you are an Ayurvedic doctor. This is the CEO of the whole facility, okay? The Peachtree Christian Hospice Care Center. This CEO was from India. And so I said, you are an Ayurvedic doctor. That's how you got the position to be CEO here, because Ayurvedic doctors, they master all of these facilities. I said, that's how you got it, right? He says, how did you know? I said, sir, you're an Ayurvedic doctor? And I said, I'm an Ayurvedic student master. I said, I student master this, and I teach people like you. And I told this man that the turmeric powder was one of the herbs that were in the ingredients that I was giving Princess Bobbi Kristina. And I told this man that the turmeric powder, the Indian people, over 4 billion Indian people have been raised on turmeric powder. Women don't even know, even America don't know. You could take turmeric powder, boil it, and drink it every day while you're pregnant, and you'll have a healthy baby. But nobody's going to tell us that. That's why I'm here, okay? So I told this CEO, hey, man, you're going to turn down the #1 item that you guys use for your heart, you use for this, you use for inflammation, you use for blood clots, all these things. I said, how could you do this? And when I said this to the CEO, I said, your forefathers, your great-grandparents are turning over in their native Indian graves because you put down the #1 thing that kept the whole country going. And this man, he dropped his head on the table. He couldn't believe what I said to him. I told him that he disgraced his entire family. He dropped his head on the table, the CEO of this center, and he did not pick it back up. The next was the chief surgeon. Pat Houston said, no again, no again. I don't care what he says, I'm against it. So the chief surgeon says, well, I see what's happening here with you and the CEO. He has nothing to say right now, but the chief surgeon says, I'm against it along with her. I'm against it. And so I asked the chief surgeon, I said, I have a personal question to you, sir. See, this is a meeting that the world don't know anything about. You get this? This is a meeting that Bobbi put me dead in the center of. The world don't even have a clue on it. I asked the chief surgeon, I said, sir, I have a personal question to you and nobody else in this room. I said, if you met if you met a woman or a man, and they were a herbal doctor, and you've known that this person was healing and helping all kind of people, getting to all kind of miracles, would you allow that female or male herbal doctor to help your daughter? if she was dying in the same situation with Bobbi Kristina. And when I asked this chief surgeon the question, he answered no. He said, I would not allow a herbal doctor to help my daughter in the same situation. And when he said that to me, I said, sir, you're saying that behind the protocol of this white robe with this pharmaceutical logo. I said, you're using and voicing your protocol. I said, but when you go home and you take off that white robe, I said, your wife is going to kick your ass. That's right, because your wife is not going to allow her daughter to die with your stupidity. Your wife is going to say, you find that herbal person, and if you don't find them, you're out of here. And that's exactly what happened to you. So I said, sir, you could say that to me under your white protocol robe with your pharmaceutical logo. And by the way, brothers and sisters, everybody out there, I want you to know that the pharmaceutical logo has always been a cross with the devil's serpent, two snakes wrapped around the cross, coming up to the top, looking down on Jesus like what's going to bite your head off. That is the pharmaceutical logo. So this surgeon here at the hospital, he said no, and Pat Houston said no again. And then the chief head guy, CEO, woke up again, stuck his head back up. And this is what the surgeon said. He said, Dr. Jollie Harris, he says, by the state of Georgia's law, if Bobbi Brown and Pat Houston both agree, then you can continue. He says, but they both have 50% custody. So they both have to agree. He said, if Bobbi had 51% custody, we would not have this conversation. You could just walk straight in there and do what the man says do. He said, but in this situation, Pat Houston has to agree. So Bobby's looking at Pat, Tommy's looking at Pat, you know, Uncle Ray's looking at Pat. We're all looking at Pat like, okay, you're the one with the final decision. So they asked Pat, what is your final decision? She said, my final decision is due because I know Bobbi Kristina. She used the word Krissy. I know Krissy better than anyone, she said. When she says it, I'm thinking, better than that. She said, I know her better than anyone. She said, it's my final decision to let her peacefully pass away. She says, I'm making this decision because I know her better than anyone. She said, Krissy would not want to live if she could not sing and dance. She said she would not want to live if she knew she was going to be bedridden. She said she would not want to live if she knew she was going to be paraplegic. So she said, it's my final decision, Pat Houston said, to let her pass away peacefully. And when Pat said that, immediately God said to me, that's not a Black woman sitting next to you making a decision. God said, that's the devil. God said, no woman, because Black women are not, how do you say, we don't have it in our blood to let another woman die. Even if you hated the woman, we don't have it in our blood to say, kill her, let her go. We don't have that in our blood. So when she said that, God said to me, this is not a woman, this is the devil. And I looked at Pat Houston after she said that. And all I did, I looked at her and said, who died and made you the Alpha and the Omega? Who made you the Alpha and Omega? When did you become God? And she just shut up and didn't say anything. And when Pat said that, Bobby took his hands and slammed it to the table really, really hard. He hit the table so hard. He got mad, he got up, his nostrils, his nose, I'm telling you, he was angry like you never believed. Bobby had so much anger in him, I thought he was gonna hit the doctors. But he got up, and I mean muscles exploding, and he ran out the room. And when Bobby ran out the room, Uncle Ray, who was Whitney Houston's bodyguard for maybe I don't know, 25, 26 years or longer. Uncle Ray stood up. He was quiet throughout the whole entire meeting, never said anything. He got up and he screamed at the doctors. He said, if Whitney was alive right now, she wouldn't listen to none of y'all. He said, if Whitney was alive, she'd run to Dr. Jollie, snatch his herbs out of his hand, and put it in Bobbi Kristina's mouth herself. He said, Whitney wouldn't listen to none of this SH. He said, Whitney would do it herself. She wouldn't listen to you. She wouldn't even be involved with this student meeting. He said she would be putting this stuff in her. So he said, you guys are wrong, and you know you're wrong. And Uncle Ray got up and walked out. And when Uncle Ray got up and walked out, Bobby walked out, Tommy got up and they walked out. And I said to the staff, I said, you guys have just made the #1 mistake in a hospice care home protocol book. I said, you've made the #1 mistake that you could ever do in a hospice care. And the CEO said, and what is that? I said, sir, before I tell you what it is, I want you to know that my father was the chief of the VA hospital for 45 years. My father was a hospital chief, so I know all hospital protocol and all hospital etiquette. I said that to him. So I said, what your facility has done today in terms of making the #1 mistake, the #1 rule, and I want everybody to know this, on earth, the #1 rule in a hospice care facility is to keep the patient and the family happy and safe. I'm gonna say that again, to keep the patient and the family happy and safe. So you have to go out of your way to do whatever necessary to keep this family happy. And I told him, oh no, you didn't do this. You just brought hell upon Mr. Bobby Brown. You had this man hating life and hating you and wanted to do some terrible things. I said, you brought out hatred. You did the worst thing you could ever do. And I told him at this center, all of these people in their white robes, I said, I will spend my life making sure that you change your name, meaning you're not a Peachtree Christian Hospice Care Center. I said, because the name Christian should not even be in your title, because the Mother Mary, she would not feed someone morphine. And you guys know that she came in here because of this problem. And then you're gonna feed her morphine and take her out? I says, oh no. I said, Mr. CEO, Mr. Chief Surgeon, and I said, also you too, Pat Houston, you too. I said, none of you will never have another night peaceful sleep in your life. Every night when you go to sleep, you will hear the thunder in my voice. You will never have another night peaceful sleep. That's what I said to Pat Houston, to the chief CEO, and to the head surgeon. I said, if you allow her to die, you will never, ever sleep again. That's exactly how it went. And so we closed out the meeting, okay? And they did what they wanted to do, okay? I eventually left the hospital. I stayed on for about maybe 4 days more. I waited till Bobby came back because Bobby had to leave in and out of the facility. And while he was away, while he was gone, how do you say? He left me in control and in charge to deal with all of these people. And Bobby had set up a meeting with his family where I walked into this room. And it was Donna Houston, Pat Houston, me, a few other people in Bobby's family, the Houston family, the Brown family. And Bobby said his suggestion was that I teach these women how to care for Bobbi Kristina. See, we were praying that she was going to stay alive. Okay, we were praying. So we did have a little quick meeting before I had this other meeting with the CEO. And in that quick meeting we had with these women, I walked into the room and cursed out a woman. I never did it in my life. My mama taught me respect, 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 respect. You don't even look at a woman's purse, a woman this, a woman that, nothing.
Yeah.
But I walked in and went off on a lady to my right. And when I went off, I didn't use cursing words, no, but I told her that she was the adversary and she was the reason for this problem. And God said that she was the one wearing the black veil, that she was bringing the havoc here in this hospital facility. I didn't know who this woman I was yelling at. When I first walked into the room, I found out at the end of the meeting that the woman that I charged at like a bull, I hope you're ready for this one. This lady that I screamed at, she was Princess Bobbi Kristina custodian, and she was her attorney. When I found that out, I looked at the lady, I said, what? You can't be custodian for the family, representing the family, and be attorney too. That's a conflict of interest.
Right.
So Pat Houston, I learned that this woman and Pat, they said tight as thieves or whatever they want to say. I ain't gonna say that, but tight like that. But anyway, they tight like that. Okay. When I say tight like that, y'all women know exactly what I'm saying. They tight like that. When they tight like that, well, so Pat Houston has something going on with this lady, and they're controlling the affairs of Princess Bobbi Kristina. And while I was there and knowing that they're going to let this young lady die, take her out of here, I'm thinking at the same time, why? There's obviously some monetary value, some people getting something coming to somebody somewhere. That's not my deal here. And I really can't speak on that. I can only speak on the health of Princess Bobbi Kristina, okay? But she, how do you say, she had an option that most people don't have. She had the option that God brought a servant in there. And when I go to help people, I honestly don't even know what I'm gonna do. I just drop my mind, let it go. And whatever comes out of my mouth, I call it throwing up God, okay? Throwing up the Most High. And I only do what the Most High calls me to do. So that's the situation there with Princess Bobbi Kristina.
Were you able to ever go back in the room and see her before things?
Yes, yes. I was able to go back and see her every day. I was able to go back in there and see her. The situation was that the hospital was afraid of me, period. They didn't want to do anything while I was on that property. Right. I remember I walked out the door one day and all these photographers came over to me. It's like 1,500 photographers, flashing lights, just flashing. And one brother came over to me and said, hey, I own my own business, my own radio station, my own this and that network. He gave me his card and he offered me a lot of money for the story. And I said, no, I didn't come here for that. I really didn't. And they were really, how do you say, they were hounding me hard immediately to get this story. But I just want the world to know, not only Princess Bobbi Kristina, there's been 4 people that have woke up from comas in my hand. Also, DMX woke up in my hands in White Plains, New York. I was with DMX the last 48 hours of his life, period. And I was in the room with him and his son. DMX oxygen on the machine went up. I did pressure points on him. It went up. I was this close to DMX lips, this close, no more than 3 inches. I was talking to him as a preacher and a reverend, pastoring him, talking to him about God and how God wants him to come back. And as I was talking to him and delivering him, how to bring this man back, redeem this man, God said to me to become a chameleon. I said, what? God said, become a chameleon.
Right.
And all of a sudden, I became a chameleon and started talking DMX language. I said, Earl, wake your ass up. I said, we're gonna go kick some ass, Earl. Them guys that put you in this position, we're gonna go get them and take them out now, man. Wake up. We're gonna go get them right now, Earl. Get up, let's go get them. Let's go get them, man. And the more I talked like that, he started having a little shake. He was starting a little move. He was ready to go back and deal with whoever. And the nurses in the facility, they started screaming at me. They said, "Preacher, you said you only were coming in to pray, but you're doing a lot more than praying." They said, "You got to get out of that room right now." And I had one hand on the door and one hand on X, doing what I could do to keep him alive. And they kept pushing and pushing the door. And I had his son even. I said, "Man, go put your butt on the door. Just hold the door closed while we finish up with your dad." What happened was the meters on the machine started registering that he had movement in his brain. So they started seeing all this registering, all this movement going on. And when they saw this registering on the machine, they got upset because they wanted him to stay in a coma. I was upset because they put him on a, what do you call it? A coronavirus floor. They put DMX on the coronavirus floor. When I walked on the floor, I could smell the virus. People don't know, but the coronavirus has a smell. I can smell it.
Yeah, it does.
And I could smell it. And I was screaming at the nurses because they wanted me to wait in the waiting room. And I'm like, "The waiting room? You must be crazy." It smelled like 99 farts of coronavirus.
And I remember you and I were talking.
Too smart for that one. You ain't choking me out up in here.
Right. I remember you and I were talking around that time, and you said that he was actually sweating. So can you talk about that? And
yes, he was sweating. He was sweating profusely, really. He was sweating, big time sweating. And then they kicked me out. They called all the security staff. Security came around me like, you know, like this guy's, he's coming to do 9/11 on us or something, okay? And they were all circling me. And I'm thinking like, who am I to have all of these guys with their headphones on, you know, all around me? And they acted like, you know, get out. I said, "You see me walking out. You don't have to sweat me to get out. I'm freely walking out of this building." So they had me walk out of the building. And I went back to the hotel the next morning. Here's the funny part. Earl, DMX, has 5 baby mamas that showed up to my hotel lobby the next day. These women are, how do you say, Black women that are baby mamas, they're usually not like this, okay? They're usually not like gelling like that, okay?
Right.
So they're kind of like far apart from each other, okay? But they came together the next morning, all 5 of these women. They sit on a couch right in front of me. And when I saw these women sit together, I said, "God is love and God is here." Hallelujah. And what they asked me exactly was, they said, "Whatever you did with Earl yesterday," they said, "it woke him up." They said he was sweating like he never sweated. They said he was fighting to bring his life back. They said, "Whatever you did with him yesterday, we want to continue that because they won't allow you to go back upstairs anymore." Okay? And so I said, "Yes." So I gave them, we're going to go into our herbs and show you some of the things that I have, okay? But I gave you some of the items. I'll show you a little bit. But I gave them the herbs, told them what to do with it. And I told them, you can go back tomorrow, the next day, and continue to do this. So the family, make a long story short, they pleaded with the hospital to allow me to be their family last rites and allow me to go upstairs one more time, just 5 minutes. The hospital said, anybody could go upstairs, but that preacher. Anybody but him, okay?
Yeah.
They called the police on me the second day. I was standing outside. I didn't leave the facility. I came, but I stood outside on the sidewalk. They came outside on the sidewalk and told me I had to leave. And I screamed back at them, at their police, and I said, their staff, and I said, "This is public sidewalk. You can't ask me to leave here." And they knew they couldn't, okay?
Right.
So they had the police there. Can you imagine have a police outside all day waiting for one brother? Then the second day I was there, they brought the paddy wagon. I walked over to the policeman. I said, "Excuse me, but this vehicle behind you, it's all, you know what I mean, coated up, all chalked it out, blacked out and everything, the windows." I said, "But I could even see the bars." I said, "I could see the bars through the windows." I said, "So did you bring that for me?"
That was all for you.
He just looked at me and smiled. He didn't say nothing. He just looked at me and smiled.
Yeah.
Okay. And so I'm looking at this, and then 20 minutes later, Brother D from the Rough Riders, he said, "Doc, go on down there and take a look at the vehicles. Take another look around the vehicles." I said, "Do what?" He said, just go take a look, a cruise around our stuff." So I went outside and cruised around where all the vehicles was. And what I saw was some guys laying back, riding around the corner real slow Italian boys in a black Cadillac with the seats leaned back. Looked like they was from Compton, California, straight from the ghetto, you know what I mean? All the way laid back. And they were looking at me like that. They kept looking at me like that. And I'm like, oh, so y'all are snipers.
Oh, okay.
So they called, I had a security for me. Then they called the police. And then when I wouldn't leave for the police, they called the red dots in. I call them the red dots because they bring the snipers and they put the red dot right on the center.
Yeah. That's it.
They brought the red dice. So when they brought the red dice, I said, okay, Lord, I guess it's time for Dr. Jollie to get up out of this White Plains, New York, because White Plains, New York is just a little bit too white for me right now, okay? So I got out of there because they were ready to take a brother out.
Yeah.
Okay?
And
So
I remember
you say white people in nothing like that, but this particular group of people are coming for me only. Okay, so ex-Earl did have an option also. He had an option, and the family asked if they could take him out of that facility. They asked the hospital to release him. I said, we want to release him and take him somewhere else, to maybe Airbnb place, anywhere they want to take him. And I said, yeah, man, y'all get him out here, take him to an Airbnb. I can take care of him over there. And I said, don't worry about that. I can handle security. I got a group of brothers that I know can handle security. So I'm not going to say their name right now, but they will handle security. Okay, so yeah, get them out of here, take them to that Airbnb and do it like that. Okay, but the hospital would not release them, and that is illegal. I want all Black families to know that you can shut a hospital down. All Black, white families, red families, Chinese, everybody learned this lesson. That is called family last rights begin. Whether it's the Houston family, the Earl, DMX family, whatever family. Family last rights begin. This is hospital protocol all over America, in every facility in America. Hospital protocol family last right starts when the doctor tells you that there's nothing more we can do for your family loved one. If you are the power of attorney for a person in your family, and the doctor said there's nothing more that they can do. Soon as the doctor says that sentence, everybody Black, I want y'all write it down, family last rights. And if they don't give you your family last rights, you go in the hospital to what's called patient advocate. Patient advocate is an office inside the hospital that's there for the rights of the patient and not for the hospital. Did you all hear me again? It's not for the hospital. That person in that office sits in that office. Nobody never knocks on the door and say, help me, my daddy, my mama, my sister need help. They never even go to this office. And that patient advocate person sits in that office and makes $45,000 a year playing chess, bingo, whatever they do. Okay. So it's called patient advocate. People write this down. Patient advocate is where you go when you have a complaint against the doctor, a complaint against the hospital, a complaint against a nursing care facility. Every facility that's working under these titles has to have a patient advocate office. You never heard that, have you?
No, I haven't.
So patient advocate and family last rights. Remember, when the doctor said there's nothing more they can do. For example, sometimes the doctor would say, okay, it's irreversible cancer, irreversible liver cancer, irreversible heart damage. When the doctor says irreversible, that word, that's another word that turns on the light for family last rights in the protocol book. Okay, because when they say irreversible, that's the doctor's statement saying there's nothing they could do to help this liver, nothing they can do to help this kidney, this heart, this bladder. Now you get what we're saying? Because this is your hammer. This is your sword and your shield when you think that there's nothing left can be done. Because a lot of us, we just give up. Some of us don't give out, but we give up.
Right.
And we give up because we don't know these protocols. We don't know this terminology. We don't know hospital ethics.
Right.
And so once you know this, you'll understand how to deal with these facilities, okay?
Yeah.
And also, I want everybody who has family members in hospitals to know this. It's called malpractice, the business that they do because they are practicing on you. Once again, it's called malpractice because everything they're doing is practicing on you. I'm Dr. Jollie of the church. People don't know the Catholic Church has had popes, different popes, and every pope has a successor. And every pope has a doctor of the church. The Catholic Church has this since the beginning. The doctor of the church is only the second position to the pope. The next person in title from the pope down is the doctor of the church. People don't know that. I want all of our Black churches, white churches, Hispanic churches, I want them all to know that we can have a doctor of the church too, because you have one right here. I am the international doctor, and I go all over the world preaching this. Bahrain, Dubai, I go all over teaching and preaching this, okay? How do you say, in Bahrain, the king gave me permission to speak in terms and letting the people know what to do before, during, and after Ramadan. That was the meeting I had in Bahrain about 4.5 years ago. And everybody from Dubai, from Saudi, from Qatar, from Medina, from Pakistan, we had 35 different Arabic sects in the room. And my closest friend over there, he says, you have to speak so that you don't say anything, not one word, that goes against Allah.
Right.
And in my speech over there, I got a standing ovation. And I told everyone, when you hear me say the word God, you just say Allah. If I say God, you say Allah. If I say Jesus, you say the Prophet Muhammad. Just that simple, okay? So I said, we just do the exchange of these two words, and we got it. So I got to teach the people over there. And so the people over there, they got to learn what I'm going to teach you right now. I'm going to show you a couple of teas, and you have them. Show them up close.
I'm out.
Cancer tea right there, y'all. That's our cancer tea. Okay. This tea right here and this other green tea, our Prophet 1 tea, these are 2 items that I started teaching these men about. And I told them that if they lit these 2 teas in the morning and lit these late at night before they did their fasting, that they would not get hungry during the whole day and evening. So I taught them that this is the original Bedouin and nomad way, meaning I could give a person just this powder in both hands, the size of a quarter, the size of a dime, and I can have you lick these 3-4 times a day, and you will need really no food. The more you lick them, the less food you need. Right. This one right here, it does cancer, it does your heart, it does your liver, it does inflammation, okay? It does your bladder. So all of your organs, this will redeem them, restore them, and rebuild them. Here it is right here. That's our cancer tea. It's called cancer stage 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the public doesn't know that cancer also goes in a stage 5. And most people never seen a stage 5. That lady that you see on my Instagram, oh, ladies and gentlemen, I'm Jollie7169. Jollie7169 on Instagram. And maybe we could tag that at the beginning of this.
I'll put it.
The Food Prophet on YouTube. I'm the Food Prophet, at TikTok also, okay? But these teas, you can lick them. And this one here, I created this tea here. I'm smiling when I show you this one because I created this tea for God to help the old ladies at church at 80 up that are walking with the walkers, coming in with the canes and the wheelchairs. I created this tea so that the old women could walk in the church and leave those chairs, canes, and crutches at home. And that's exactly what this does, okay? So this tea right here, the green tea, our Prophet Tea 1, it does blood pressure, cholesterol, it does your weight, it does your mucus in your body, it takes out clears your cataracts. It helps you focus. So it helps people focus for vision. It helps the retina and the eyes. And that retina's a real tiny little thing where they need to do surgery to go in and do eye surgery. Well, guess what? This goes where the machines can't go. So
Right.
using this, you don't need eye surgery. I'm helping people blind right now, this minute. We do this all the time, okay? So once again, this one, blood pressure, cholesterol, diabetes, your weight, your mucus. It helps with your kneecaps, okay? And this one also, how do you say, it gives you energy, and it's a total detox. You will know that this detox when you do it, because after you take it 5, 10 times, you'll start seeing bubbles come out in your urine. Meaning when you urinate, you'll see little bubble suds come up, and that's your mucus coming out in bubbles, okay? So with these 2 teas, you can't even catch a cold, okay? Can't even catch a cold. And this one right here, a friend of mine, Megan Good, you know who she is, but she uses this one, and guess what it does? She came to me once with her husband. I said, hey, you guys use this tea. It's gonna make you flawless. Her husband said, what? I said, yeah, flawless. I said, once you start using this, you're never going to wear any makeup. And I want women to hear me. Once you start licking this tea every day, not only are you taking care of your heart, your liver, your bladder, your kidney, and all these things, you're clearing out the wrinkles in your face. You're making your skin like juvenate. Your skin becomes like electricity, okay? Some people tell me my skin look like it has lights in it. I say, oh, whatever. But I know it's the herbs from the inside, they come to the outside, okay?
Right.
So that's how these work. And I also want to talk to you about the black seed oil. We've got this black seed oil here, and you take the bottle, you turn it upside down, you shake it, and it really comes to you in a paste form. Nobody's going to get it to you this thick. And you take this oil, this black seed oil does maggots, it does worms, it does parasites, okay? A lot of women have maggots, worms, and parasites in their body, and we're going to go into that because it's going into the situation of women having issues with tumors, goes into that issue. We go into this cysts and all this, okay? So women got a lot cleaning out, men got a lot to clean out, but women got even more. But the black seed oil, number one use, is there's 60,000 people that cannot poop. This clears your colon. When people tell me they had a colonoscopy, I start laughing. You know why? Because I look at them and I still see all this junk in the trunk, and I still see the stomach sticking out. If your colon is clean, you don't have a stomach.
Right.
If your colon is clean, you don't have all that junk in the trunk either.
And I can
So
attest to
people,
that black
when
seed
man
oil.
tells you that he cleans your colon, man is lying to you. What were you saying?
I can attest to that black seed oil definitely does clean you out.
It cleans you out. And so I have people do it at night, but if you do it in the day, some people, it could make you run to the restroom. Some people it don't, okay? Now, I also take this oil and put it in my food because, you know, I'm still trying to acquire a taste for it, and I make it myself, okay? But anyway, some people love it, some people don't, but I put it in my soup. I put this in my beans. I put it on my rice. Even if I have pasta, I'll put a tablespoon on it. When I have a salad, my mustard green salad, I put it on it. When I have my king salmon, I put it on it. So I put you to know that these 2 items I put on everything I eat. I use my cancer tea like Black people use accent and dash. And I use my black seed oil like Black people use ketchup and hot sauce. They put it on everything.
Those 2 things helped me when I had COVID.
Yes.
I got on the phone with you, and those 2 things, because I couldn't eat, I couldn't smell, I couldn't taste. Those 2 things did help me when I had COVID.
Right.
And it got rid of it a lot sooner
than,
yeah.
Okay. And then also the black seed oil, it also lubricates your body. So there's people, example, there's people who are paraplegic, ADD, ADHD. There's some people you see just have their hands like locked like this and they can't move and their arm is like this. And so I give this to people so the families can how do you say, so that this person could start drinking on his own. So this person could start picking up their food on their own, okay? So whoever comes into my life or comes close to me, it doesn't matter your situation. We can better whatever your situation. And I want people to know that God's like this. God's arms stretch this wide. And I want the world to know that there's nothing that I cannot do for you in terms of health. I want the world to know that yes, there's a man with black seed oil, cancer tea, and his anointed oil that's ripped out your coronavirus. Yes, there's a remedy for it. Yes, there's a remedy for your AIDS. Yes, there's a remedy for your herpes. I do this all the time. Yes, a remedy for your cancer. Yes, for your blood clots. Yes, for your hemorrhaging. Yes, for your fibroid tumors. Yes, for your leaking. Women leak and have leakage, and they leak in the bladder all the time. Okay, so it's yes for all these problems, and there are problems that women have that nobody even talk about. So with the cyst problem, with the fibroid tumor problem, with the urinary tract infection problem, all of these things go on and on. So women have a host of issues that must be dealt with. While we're talking about that, we'll speak about this oil. Because at Venice Beach, for about 15 years, I was teaching about this oil, the anointed oil. Now, I could give the name of this, but if I gave the true name, they go and they rip it out. I want the world to know this. Monsanto and the government, they follow what I say, and they go find the products, they destroy them. They make sure they chemical it out that you don't get what you want. Even if you go to health food stores, Indian stores, I don't care where you go, they make sure they destroy it. They started to destroy the pomegranate juice. I preached about it for a long time. Now they're trying to destroy the grapeseed oil. Everybody you cook with, fry with, bake with grapeseed oil. It's the finest oil on earth, okay? Also, they're destroying the apple cider vinegar. I preached and preached and preached about this apple cider vinegar. Now 50% of the vinegar in the store is all fake, okay? While we're talking about vinegar, I should stay on that for a second, and I'll go back to this. I want women to fill up your tub with water, hot, and then pour in a whole quart of apple cider vinegar. Sit in the tub for no less than 1, 2, 3 hours. My suggestion is take your laptop, put a towel on the toilet seat, put a movie on there or something that you want to study, and sit in the tub for at least 3 hours. I said 4 to 5 hours. Sometimes I use just a little bit of tiny bit of liquid soap because I like just a little bit of bubbles, you know what I mean? But 90% all vinegar. So you fill up your tub with water, put in a whole quart or a quart and a half of vinegar. And what you do is, women, you sit till your skin gets wrinkly like a prune. I mean, really wrinkly and gray like a prune. And most women, when I say this, go, ow, 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 I don't want to look like that. But guess what? When you get out the tub, 3 hours later, 2 hours later, pat yourself down with a towel. Just pat yourself down, and your skin's gonna go shoot tight like that. Shoot tight like that, okay? Oh, I forgot. I was talking about that. I got to say this, but about that cancer tea, this, I believe, is mostly responsible for making good, having extremely flawless skin. Every woman that does enough of this becomes to get extremely flawless skin. Your skin is even waking up more and more. I'm seeing it, okay? It's taking time, but it's doing it. So this is what we got to do. This anointed oil. I have women sitting in the tub with the apple cider vinegar. And when I tell women, when you sit in the tub with the vinegar, spread yourself, push some water inside. Also, I'm asking women to go back to douching with apple cider vinegar. You know that pink bag they used to hang up? Well, you haven't seen that pink bag in 100 years, right?
Right.
Women need to put it back in the bathroom, hang it on the shelf, or they have some modern bags that look better. You know, and they have some, and there's a couple of companies that have little tubes and things where you can douche with, but apple cider vinegar is what they want to douche with. And the reason why is because the apple cider vinegar, this is extreme. It alkalines the woman's body from inside. That's what Mother Mary wants you, alkaline from inside out. It pH balances the woman from the inside. This is very, very important because the vinegar, as it flows through your blood, it clears the blood cells for the white and it cleans the blood cells for the red. Some women, let me give you an example. I tell women, when you have your cycle, you could just let me see the blood, and I'll tell you exactly what's going on with you. You can let me see your pee or your poop. I'll tell you exactly what's going on with you. I don't need ideology. I don't need this. I don't need these kind of machines. I don't need none of that.
Right.
Okay. I can tell you what's going on with you. So women, when you put this apple cider vinegar in you, it basically sterilizes you from the uterus all the way through up to your brain and down to your big toe. Takes gangrene out of that too. And also this vinegar, it unlocks your blood. So it relieves your blood cells, okay? So apple cider vinegar is also good for the woman's scalp to take dandruff out of the hair. So I want a woman to know that she can take the vinegar. And also I want women to know who are homeless women in the streets. I want them to know also that they could take vinegar and a paper towel, tissue, and clean their whole entire body with it without even using a tub. So a woman could be clean even though she's homeless.
Okay.
Somebody's got to tell our people, our beloved sisters, what to do, because even though they're in this situation, how do you say, we still got to lift them because they're God's queens.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
It doesn't matter about your money, who you are, where you live, because God gonna meet them where they are, and I'm meeting them where they are right here. So women that are homeless, if you're seeing this and you're watching on your phone, you can clean with apple cider vinegar. You can also clean with alcohol. You know, on my Instagram, I show people that I brush my teeth with alcohol, that I gargle with alcohol, that I clean here, down here with alcohol. So I want people who are living on the streets, men and women, to know you can clean with alcohol, you can clean with apple cider vinegar, and still keep your head up and be God's king and queen, okay?
Right.
Because cleanliness is next to godliness. So even though we're in the street with whatever you have and don't have, we want to let you know what you can do to get by, okay? Because there's no point in me being here helping people with money, and then there's people who don't have, and you leave them out. We're not leaving anybody out, okay? And people in the streets who don't have funds or can't catch up with me, and you can't get any of these things, I want you to go buy garlic. Make sure the garlic stinks. A lot of fake garlic in the store, you smell it, there's no smell, that's fake garlic. You can buy garlic, you can get ginger, and you could bite down on the ginger each day, or you can peel the skin off the ginger and leave it in water. If you leave ginger sitting in water, it's the size of bubble gum pieces. Homeless people, hear me loud and clear, the size of bubble gum pieces, leave it in a gallon of water or leave it in a bottle of water. Let it sit for 8 hours. Even if you only pay 50 cents for the ginger and $1 for that water, you can unlock your own heart. Okay? You can shut your own self down from having that seizure tonight or that blood clot from the alcohol you've been drinking. We got to help our brothers and sisters, okay? So this anointed oil here, going back to this oil, you could put it in your nose. Take toilet tissue, stick it in the oil. It's called anointed oil. Stick it in the oil, stick it straight in your nose, and go as deep as you can into the nose cavity, twisting it, going back. And the coronavirus hits right about here. You see where my fingers sit? It's like where your temple is. Everybody knows where that temple is. Where your eye socket goes straight back to meet your temple, that's about where that virus is. So when you put this oil in your nose, push it and push it and push it and push it, go as deep as you can into the nose cavity. Make it hurt. Your eyes will maybe burn. It may make you sneeze. Don't worry about that. Do both nostrils, then breathe in deeply. If I could get everybody to do that with this oil, you will breathe 50% better within 5-10 minutes, okay? 15% better. So this oil will unlock and go all the way to your toes. And there's a lot of people that have vessels in their legs. Everybody watching this video, pull up your socks, pull up your leg, your pants leg, and look at your ankles. If you see pronounced veins and the veins are sticking out, I'll say it to you like this. If your veins on your legs look like ropes that you could do jumping jack with a double dutch, well, that's too much vein. That means you're on the way out of here.
I'm
okay?
good.
So if they look like ropes sticking out your legs that you can just pop off and do some double dutch, that's okay. So we got to take care of that. So you can put this oil on those veins. You could put it in your nose. And we have women that get a sterile pad. Gauze, G-A-U-Z-E. You get a gauze pad and you put a tablespoon and a half of this oil on it and you press it inside the vaginal area and leave it inside you overnight. I had a lady put this oil inside her. The lady called me up about 6 hours later, started cursing and cursing and cursing and cursing me out. While the lady was screaming, cursing me out, I was on the phone laughing. I said, lady, instead of cursing me out, you should be screaming hallelujah. She said, why should I scream hallelujah? I said, because you got a bad irritation problem. You have a urinary tract problem, and this will shut it down without you doing surgery. I said, you may scream 2 nights in a row, but you won't be going to the hospital and you won't be seeing no doctors. So when a woman puts this in her, not every woman's gonna scream, but if you have cysts, fibroid tumors, urinary tract infections, okay? If you have chlamydia, gonorrhea, syphilis, herpes, this will sting and burn a little bit. You get what I'm saying? It's like if you cut your finger and you stick it in some lemon juice, you're gonna burn.
Right.
So it works like that. So you put it inside you, and the next day you pull it out in the morning, and then the next night you put it back in you, and it burns 50% less. So each night, women, it burns 50% less. My telephone number is 818-983-7473. My name is Dr. Jollie. Dr. Jollie is my real name, but we say Jollie or Jollie, whatever. It don't matter. Some people just call me Doc. A lot of entertainers just call me Doc. They don't use my name at all. And you know what? My name has zero to do with it. It's all about your healing. It's not about me, my, or I. It's about your healing. And this is about rejuvenating the body, restoring the body, and revitalizing the body. I want the world to know that we are a redemption center. You can take the same oil. A lady came to me with her dog, and she was getting ready to rush the dog to the hospital. She's on my block, but to make the long story short, a cat scratched the dog's eye out, and the dog's eye was hanging by a vessel. And we took this oil, pressed it around, and put a towel up there and pushed the dog's eye back in the socket. That's all we did. And the dog never used the vet.
Wow.
We use this for animals too. Okay.
All right.
So also, like I said, if you have an irritation point, I'll give you an example. A lot of women got black spots under here, purple spots over here. You use this and scrub your face with it. I tell men you could use this, put it on your face, and you shave with it. I shave with it, okay? So it goes in your nose, it goes in your hair, it goes in your armpit, it goes under the cup line of the woman's breast. You remember I said you scrub under this cup line. It goes on the tip of the woman's nipple. I'm saying this to the women because this is where cancer comes into a woman's body. But nobody's going to express it to her. Nobody's going to tell a woman what God, how do you say, utters out of my mouth. Once again, not all women, but many women, 60% have odors here. 60% have odors right on the tip of the nipple. And everyone has odors here in the armpit. So I need this oil scrub in those areas. And in the man, I need him to scrub below on his testicle side and scrub on his penile side. And I tell black people, you scrub till you look pink. And if you scrub brothers tell you look pink, now you join the Dr. Jollie Club.
Well, thank you.
You'll feel so clean. And you can also take this oil, put a tablespoon in your hand and hit it on your face in the shower. Rub it all over your body and shower with this oil. I do not use soap. I use this.
Okay. I haven't tried that
I want
yet.
people to know that. Also, you could use this on people that have what do you call it? Hemorrhoids. You use it for people on their feet that have bad feet, pain in the feet, pain in your knees. Anywhere you got pain, you can use our anointed oil. Okay? Our website is being redone right now, but our Instagram is Jollie7169, Jolie 7169. And I'm the Food Prophet, Prophet, the Food Prophet on YouTube, and the Food Prophet, TikTok. Also the Food Prophet on the website, but we're redoing that right now. I haven't looked at it in a while. Can we touch on one thing before I get off? I don't want to leave this because it's the most burning thing in my heart right now. That God sends you on something this week and he sends you something. But right now, the most burning thing in my heart is that we have millions of Black women that are dying trying to have babies. And these women are mostly 45 and under. And they're dying because we have a race that is, how do you say, 70% of our women have fibroid tumors and cysts. Now, let me explain something that people don't know, because doctors are not going to tell you this. When a tumor is growing, the tumor is sucking your blood, sucking your nutrients, sucking all this great food that you just bought, everything you thought was pH balanced. The tumor's getting all that nutrients. The cyst is getting all that. So when women, or how do you say, have these cysts and the tumors, they get in the way of having the babies. And they have tumors and cysts in the uterus.
Mm.
And this is causing, how do you say, death for the woman, and it's causing death for the babies. There are a lot of women calling me and saying, hey, the doctor's saying 60%, I might die. 40%, the baby might die. And we have situations with Black women in states where now, you know, how do you say, from a godly point of view, you know that the abortion is no good, bad. But now the world has turned a little bit. Man has turned the clock. And because man has turned the clock, God is saying that the woman now is not a thing of it being bad. It's a situation where a woman's got to do the right godly thing. And I'll give you, explain that to you. A Black woman living in a state that says that can have no abortions. This woman, let's just say she's 30 years old. She's pregnant today. She's having complications right now. The doctor tells her that if she has this child, there's a 60% chance she's gonna die. 40% chance the baby's gonna die. So this woman, she's 30. She gotta make a decision.
Mm-hmm.
Doctor tell me I'm gonna die. Doctor tell me my baby gonna die. The state tell me that I can't get rid of the baby.
Yeah.
And if I don't get rid of the baby, I might die for sure.
Right.
I may die for sure because the doctor told me I got 60, 70% chance of dying because of these tumors inside of me.
Yeah.
So I got to make a decision on baby and me. But here's the situation now is that the state has got involved and the state saying I can't have an abortion.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can't have an abortion and the baby comes through, maybe the baby live, and I die.
Right.
Our sisters are sitting with this dilemma. But I want our sisters to know that this began in our grocery stores. It began by these food trucks taking the worst food in the ghetto. The worst food you can possibly buy is in a Black store. I'll say it over and over and over again. They don't bring healthy food into our stores, and that has to change. So if the nutrients are not there, we're not getting it. And also, I need to talk on just a little bit because it has to do with the health of the women and these babies. I have to talk about what I call the Black KKK.
Mm-hmm.
The Black KKK, I'm going to announce these people on your show. This is Prophet Dr. Jollie Harris talking about these Black entertainers, movie stars, football players, basketball, you name it, that are going on TV, and singers, going on TV selling Doritos, hot chips. You're selling all this flaming hot stuff, or you're selling McDonald's stuff, but you're Black people and you get a contract from this company, Doritos chips, for $1 million to do this commercial. And that $1 million that you get, Mr. Black KKK, whoever you are, every dollar you get on that check, we got a Black woman and man dying because they're listening to you, taking these chips. They're listening to you eat this darn McDonald's, and you're killing out our Black race because you're doing to our people what they're doing. You're suggesting that our people go eat this because you got millions of dollars. You don't eat it, but you're telling our Black race to go get it.
Right.
You are the Black KKK. I'm announcing you right now this minute. and you're taking out our people. So all of you Black people that are doing commercials and you're making your millions selling stuff that you know is going to harm our race, shame on you. You're the KKK to your own people. So I want the Black people to know, Black men to know how to help their sisters. All you brothers out there, come up with some money and put a bidet in your house for your woman. You say you love your wife, you say you love your woman, you love your girlfriend, go put a bidet in your house. Some people don't need a bidet. If you got a woman that's taking she's taking vinegar baths and she's douching on a regular basis, you don't need this. But I want everybody to know on your show, every Black woman, please hear me loud and clear. If I take you to Spain, if I take you to Germany, if I take you to France, I could take you to 1,000 places and you will not see fibroid tumors and cysts in the women. You won't see these urinary tract infections. You won't see these hemorrhaging and all this problems that we have down here on a woman. You know why they don't have it?
Why is that?
Because the women wake up and use a bidet 2-3 times a day. The bidet it looks like a toilet and you sit on it, but it's not a toilet. And then water comes up and it meets you. Men use it too. Men clean down here below 2-3 times a day, and women do. When you clean down below, you don't get these problems.
Right.
Somebody's got to wake our people up in the hood and say, sisters, we got to get clean. Because if we don't get clean and healthy and start having healthy babies, there will not be a Black race 25, 30 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
There won't be any, because we're destroying our own selves. Hot sauce, the shrimp, the lobster, the crab, that is what's called scavenger. I want women to know, when you eat shrimp, lobster, and crab, and sushi, you're growing worms. A woman that eats sushi for 10 years should have a worm about this long. A woman that eats sushi for 20 years may have a worm in her body 30 feet long. Some people die from the worm wrapping around the intestines and choking them out.
Oh, wow.
So the food is dangerous food that we're giving us. And then the hot sauce, sugar, butter, coffee, and spicy foods are the enemies to the Black and Hispanic race, also for the Hindu and Indian people too. I'll say it again, the spicy, the caliente, the hot stuff is taking us out. The hot stuff is why Black women can't grow hair. The hot stuff is why Black women got cysts and fibroid tumors. The hot stuff is where the urinary tract infections come in. And not only Black people, but I went to a hospital in Rancho Los Amigos here in California, and I saw 3,000 babies down there, preemie babies, Latin babies, Latinos babies that are sick. And all these families got to come and see them every day, their baby, preemie babies, with this hot sauce stuff.
Yeah.
And nobody's telling the Latin people, back off, back off. Black people, back off, back off. So I want to secure our race. We cannot secure it if this continues with the fibroid tumors. I'll say it again, 70% of our Black women are taking a risk on dying, having babies. And over 70% are not even healthy enough, meaning this placenta, it has to be healthy before you can even carry a baby, because you will have a miscarriage if there's too much sugar. You will have a miscarriage if there's too much butter. You will have a miscarriage if you had too many spicy hot wings or too many, what do you call it, those polar sausages, hot slinks.
Right.
Oh, we love our hot links, right?
Mm-hmm. I hadn't had one in years.
Taking out our babies.
Yeah.
We love them. So I'm just saying, we got to come to grips on, because nobody's telling us, and there are the TV shows on talking about it, but the Black women are dying at an extreme ratio having babies. people don't know this. So we just want to teach people, okay? And I want to thank you for bringing me on your show. And thank you for all the people that you've referred me to. There's been a lot of people, and to your whole clan. I mean, everybody in your family, uncles, cousins, babies, and everybody that's trying these herbs, okay? Because
Thank
they're
you.
miracle herbs. Thank you.
Thank
And
you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
I love them.
Well, thank you so much for joining us today. You know, we'll probably talk again, but I thank you so much for taking time with us today and joining us today, Dr. Jollie.
Thank you. Hopefully we were helpful to you, okay?
Thank you. You were. Thank you. Have a good one.
Blessings, blessings. Hallelujah.
As always, thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and hit that bell so you don't miss any of my new episodes.